So we are starting.
Yes, start.
Good evening. Welcome to the day 2, that is the afternoon session of the 98th Easter Conference. We all know that Easter marks the resurrection of Jesus after crucifixion. And this symbolizes his victory over sin and death. While we all can relate to life after death, we know that there is this path on which we all are set on a journey for realizing the eternal. As our theme of this conference is From Known to the Unknown, we have been listening to these wonderful deliberations on pilgrim, the path, and the probation, qualifications to tread the path on day 1. Today, the day 2 of the conference brought us Mind is the slayer of the real, the 3 halls, head learning and the soul wisdom, then inner flowering of the soul. And we had dynamic speakers who covered all these topics. Let us continue this exploration of this journey from the known to the unknown. So here I'll say something. We would be knowing that there is a Buddhist term, Paramithas, meaning perfection. It is described in Buddhist commentaries as noble qualities associated with enlightened beings. We have 3 amazing speakers with us in this session to talk about the 7 Paramithas. Brother G. Amardeep and Dhyana and Shila, Brother K Damodaran and Kshanti and Viraga, Sister M. Gita Radhika and Virya, Dhyana and Prajna. So I request all of you to put your questions, if any, during any speech in the chat box only, and we will consider those for a discussion and answers in the end of the session around 5 p.m. So I welcome our first speaker, Brother Amardeep Ji. Few words about him. He is a master of computer applications and works as a consultant information systems auditor at IBM. He is a member of Rai Durgam Theosophical Society, an ardent follower of Sanatana Dharma and Advaita philosophy. He has participated in Resource Persons Meeting, International Convention and Indian Convention of TS. He has been involved in RTF youth channels to work effectively for taking theosophy to youngsters. His father, late Sri G. Ramakrishna Garu, is the founder president of Rai Durgam Lodge, and now his mother, Srimati Gayatri Devi, is actively conducting the lodge. He has 3 sisters and their children are also active members of Theosophical Society. So I welcome Brother Amardeep to speak about Dhyana and Shila. Over to you, Amardeep.
Thank you so much. A very good evening to all brothers, and I would like to express my sincere gratitude giving this opportunity to share my ideas and to express my knowledge and my exploration about the Sanatana Dharma and the voice of silence. And I would like to present my screen. Please confirm when it is visible. Is it visible? Hope my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So I would like to welcome all the members to 98th Easter Conference. And this image inspires me to speak about today's topic, which is about the book written by H.P. Blavatsky, which is Voice of Silence. So by seeing this image, I will get an inspiration how the voice speaks about the silence inside us, the exploration of Sanatana Dharma, and the theosophical wisdom towards the spiritual transformation. And I'm just moving to the 3rd slide. So basically, this book is a translation of the Tibetan ideology by Madam Blavatsky in 1889. This little book is a gem of Buddhist teachings, has a wide circulation So basically, this book basically gives HPB made envisages the knowledge of Buddhist terminology in terms of Paramithas, and a few concepts have been taken from golden precepts of knowledge. So as we all know, Madam Blavatsky had a profound knowledge of Buddhist philosophy and the doctrines she promulgated, who's those having great teachers. So this actually burns fire inside us to deep dive into the various principles that will guide us to lead a spiritual path in our lifestyle. And I would like to introduce the 7 Paramithas of life, which are Dhyana, Shila, Kshanti, Vairagya, Virya, Dhyana, and Prajna. So basically, the 2 concepts are given to me to explain the first 2 ones. However, had given a few information about these 7 Paramithas. So this diagram was actually a pictorial representation of these 7 Paramithas, where we can understand the higher planes of a theosophist or the sadhaka who is leading the life towards the path. So here the first is Dhyana, Shila, Kshanti, Viraga, Virya, Dhyana, Prajna. I have given numbers, and in that we have a description about each Paramita. So I will give a brief introduction about this Dhyana and Shila. So Dhyana is actually, as per the diagram, the key and the charity and the love and the important, which is actually a key factor in Bodhisattva. We say Mahayana, Bodhisattvayana, Vajrayana. So there are Yana means a travel, which will take towards the higher planes, the explanation of the spiritual knowledge. So here the first Paramita, which is the most important and powerful one, which has been envisaged by Madam Blavatsky. So which is Dhyana, which is actually key for our life to perform the various types of charity works and which will lead to moksha. And the second one is the key to harmony, and in word and act, the key that counterbalances the cause and effect and leaves no further room for karmic action. So the Shila is the main paramita which will help the theosophist or sadhaka to move towards the harmony, to attain the various methods of mukti and to achieve the samadhi state. So various definitions are given. For Shanti, it is patience, and for Viraga, it is indifference towards pleasure. It's a Vairagya. So 5th one is Virya, the dauntless energy that fights its way the supernal truth. And 6th one is Dhyana, whose golden gate towards the yam of sat eternal and ceaseless contemplation, which makes the man is called creating a Bodhisattva son of Dhyana, which is Prajna. So I'm just moving to the statement which inspired me today to speak about the voice of silence. It was said that each of the 7 much more than commonplace virtue, but an actual gateway of initiation. To treat these paths successfully takes multiple lifetimes of consistent and determined effort and will. So here, Madam Blavatsky again reiterates the importance of each virtue to implement in our daily lives with a consistent effort. So there should be a consistent effort. There is no break or there is no deviations from the thoughts in our mind. So at least 7 such incarnations. So life of birth, again taking birth, again going to death, again going to birth. So 7 incarnations may be required for a sadhaka to achieve this state. So Madam Blavatsky again reiterates the consciousness which is required for the sadhaka to achieve the path of theosophist, to reach mukti, and various paths to be taken to reach the moksha. So I would like to give a subjective approach towards Dhyana, which is a key of charity and love, immortal, which is an explanation given by Madam Blavatsky in Voice of Silence. And Dhyana is armed with key of charity and love and tender mercy all check you before the gate of Dhyana, the gate that stands at the entrance of the path. So it will welcome you to the entrance of the path to start going to the higher planes. The way we discussed about the 7 principles of man, where it gives the monad triad and the Atmic, Buddhic, Sharira, Karana, Sharira, and all those things, it will open your gates to enter into the spiritual wisdom. So again, I would like to give you a small definition, which is Dhyana is actually word connects the virtue of generosity, charity, or giving of alms in Indian philosophies. It is alternatively translated as dana. So here, when Blavatsky gives the explanation of the spiritual knowledge, the theosophist approach based on the Bodhisattvayana, the Buddhic terminology has been used in this book to represent the various principles of theosophy. So in Buddhist thought, it was effect of purifying and transforming the mind of the viewer. So here, Madam Blavatsky says how a person should be by nature, how purified the thoughts are there while performing the dana activity. Whoever is performing the dana to anybody, how the purest mind should be there to perform the dana to any person. What will be the instinct behind that? So dana is related to and mentioned in ancient terminology with the concepts of paropakara, which means benevolent deed helping others, dakshina, which means gift, fee which can afford, and bhiksha, which means it's present in the food. So here, the paropakara, the word is given very clear explanation of this. The person who performs dana has a mind of paropakara, without expecting from anybody or anything, is straight away giving whatever he has with his 100% wish. So dakshina is something with a willful approach. And what type of dakshinas are given to the bhikshaka? So here I would like to give an example with Kanakadara Stotra, which is written by Adi Shankaracharya, which is actually hymn which is given on Goddess Mahalakshmi. So here the pictures you can see there is one poor Brahmin lady and Goddess Mahalakshmi giving the boon, and Adi Shankaracharya, which is 5 years old boy. So here, after having Upanayana, one day Adi Shankaracharya goes for Bhiksha. So here, the old lady, the poor lady, who is not having anything to provide as a Bhiksha to Shankara, she was thinking what to present. She comes and says, Bhavati Bhiksha Dehi. So as a Brahman, when he comes to any woman's house, whoever is there at the time of Sanatana Dharma wishes, they will straight away went to kitchen and they will give whatever they have to the. So in this case, this is a poor lady. She doesn't have anything in the house. So she wants to perform the dana to Bhikshika. He is a Brahmin of 5 years who has recently completed the Kamyopanayana. Kamyopanayana is an activity which is given to the Vedic scholars at the 5 years of age who is having the spiritual wisdom. So here, she wholeheartedly, she performs the dana by providing a small omelette to Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara, with his completeness in the mind, he started recites the hymn on Goddess Mahalakshmi with the purest thought to give the boon to that poor lady. And again, after performing this recitation continuously, 1,800 Indian gooseberry amlas have continuously fallen from the Goddess Mahalakshmi in front of this house. This house is still existing in the Kerala. The house is Paramithas, where this is the perfect evidence of Sanatana Dharma and the implementation of this followed without any expectation. And again, I'm moving to second paramita, which is actually, we call it as a Shila. So Shila is actually key of harmony in the word and act, the key that counterbalances the cause and effect and leaves no further room for karmic action. Shila helps the sadhaka to lead the life even though there are bad effects of karma, and he will still provide the direction to achieve the spiritual wisdom. To reach the masters, this paramita helps the sadhaka to attain moksha in a systematic way. The sadhaka who performs his rituals and traditions as per his ancestral procedures, he is the example or embodiment of Sanatana Dharma. And while moving to second explanation over the Shila, Madam Blavatsky again speaks about the Panchashila methods, where it was clearly explained a person who wants to attain the moksha strictly has to follow these 5 methods of Panchashila. The first one is abstain from the falsehood, not to speak the untruth. We should never lie to anybody. We should never expect from anybody, which is actually not required. So again, the second one is abstain from the theft, not to steal. Nobody should steal from anybody. You should earn whatever you want from your own energy, own will, own knowledge, own exploration of the knowledge. And the third one is abstain from the killing, not to indulge in violence. A sadhaka should not kill any organism, even an ant going behind you, which is not disturbing you anything. You should not kill it without anything. Nobody should kill anything when it is having the prana in the body. Abstain from the sexual misconduct to show fidelity. We have to respect the women around you, and we have to provide the necessary respect where you should abstain from the unnecessary feelings or the way you look the women, the respect you're going to provide. And the last one is abstain from the intoxication, not to indulge in substance misuse. This is, for example, a sadhaka should not take an alcoholic substances or the liquids or the fluids which will create the tamoguna. So the Panchashila methods will help the Sanatana sadhaka to achieve the dharma in a systematic way, which will not provide any deviations to achieve the principles of the theosophy. And while moving to next slide, Madam Blavatsky will speak about in the way of the eternal theosophy. So I would like to present this diagrammatic representation where we call it a Shat Sampati. In Sanskrit, the Shat means 6. So these are in smart explanation, the Shama, Dhamma, Viprati, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhana. So these are the good qualities of the sadhaka to cultivate themselves in a daily living, which will help to achieve a faster mode, where these habits or these methods can be followed from the age. Like if you say, for a Brahmin, we perform the Yajna at 7 years and 2 months. It starts from the womb from the mother's side. So 8 years is the perfect age to perform the Upanayana. So these qualities are well explained during the Brahmopadesham of the Brahman. So here if you say the control of the mind, and how are you going to control your mind to the positive thoughts, the spiritual wisdom, the words you choose, the deeds you perform, and again the controls of organs of perception and action. So this again will envisages the quality of control of your thoughts with respect to the food, the way you take, the way you manage your hunger, the way you manage your cravings, all those things with respect to your organs and the physiological dependencies. In the keeping the organs with run, how do you cultivate? Suppose if you want to do the intermittent fasting, it will create you wisdom thoughts in your mind, which will control your tamoguna. And titiksha, bearing the hardships. How much ever you perform, there will be something you left, you need to manage it. You need to know how to weight on your shoulders. And the faith in the truths of Vedanta, we all know the Shraddha is very much required. The way to learn any new thing, the way you need to wake up before sunrise, the way you need to provide your respects to your ancestral gods, all those things are very much important. We say it's a Shat Sampati, Samadhana, fixing the mind in the study of truth. Adi Shankaracharya again speaks about the concept of Mimamsa. So Mimamsa is something you're not able to decide where to go, what is the, how to measure it, which one is the right one for me. So mind will go for continuous exploration of the wisdom to land into the right path, which will make you to become a perfect theorist and which will make you to drive towards the principles without having any dependency over the caste, creed, or anything, without expectation from you. This is the basic property of the person who and shape. Again, I would like to say the Eightfold Path in a more explorative way. In the previous slide, whatever we discussed here, this is a statement word, the verbal explanation, where we have a different, we call it as Eightfold Path, which is Ashtanga Marga. We call it as the understanding, thoughts, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, meditation. The way you start it from sunrise, you learn all by sunset. All these steps are very much important for you. That's why it shows the morality, which is the Shila, and the wisdom. And Madam Blavatsky says the Bodhisattva Yana. The Bodhisattva Yana is the way, the vehicle it takes you to the path of spiritual wisdom. So again, you can see the aromats, how you have to cultivate your steps and to travel towards the path of 8 lead in the Bodhisattva. Will help you to reach the Samadhi state. So you have Dhyana, Dharana, Pratyahara, Asanas, Niyamas, Yamas. If you take any Buddhistic mark or any mark, we say Pithadipati Hinduism. So this all steps are followed by the consciousness, which will help you the what you eat, what niyamas you follow, what pranayamas you follow, how much they you perform, what you wear, what you speak. All these things are very much important to reach Samadhi state. So again, this is a deep dive towards the Shila. You can see all the parameters which will help sadhaka to reach the eternal personality of the theosophist. Sadhaka is a continuous learning. That's what even Adi Shankaracharya, who lived for 32 years, he has presented all this.
Looks like Brother Amardeep connection is not so good, so he might have logged out inadvertently. So he joined back again. Okay.
Beautiful presentation.
No, let him continue. He has not completed, I think. You have still something to say, Amardeep?
Amardeep, you can switch off your video, so at least we can hear your voice. Yeah.
Make your unmute yourself. You're still, and your net is still very weak.
Yeah, I hope my voice is visible.
No, voice is okay.
Is it visible?
But
Okay. So this is my how would my screen share now?
Okay, yeah, can see now. Okay, we can see now.
So this back your mind fire comes from ignorance. The man who does not know things that is great has not known it. This quote inspires me to speak about voice of silence, where all the work or with the grace of only we are able to perform, able to participate today in the Easter conferences because of God's grace. And finally, I would conclude my statement is a journey of individual and from Dhyana, where we achieve a thought. Theosophy is a continuous journey where you have to explore your mind, daily living, various principles. It's an endless.
Thank you, Amardeep.
Yes, some problem which not possible to.
I'm thanking him as he rightly put this as the gates on the path of initiation. Yes, truly, all these parameters we are studying one by one. The gates will open for us on this path. So moving on to our next speaker, Brother K Damodaran. I'll speak about him in few words. He has retired from the government service as a Chief Administrator, Accounts and Vigilance Officer from Department of Atomic Energy, Hyderabad. He was the former Secretary, Trichur Theosophical Lodge, KTF. He had joined TS through Trichur Lodge under Kerala Federation. It was in the year 2015. And he also functioned as a Secretary of the Lodge during the period 1890. He attended annual convention in Varanasi during 1920. He was asked also to give small talks on 2 occasions last year. One was about Bishop Leadbeater on Adyar Day, and the other was on the occasion of Radha Bonier's anniversary on October 31st on the subject of human regeneration. So anyone who's hearing him out for the first time, so let Brother K Damodaran present. And he's going to talk about the 2 more parameters, the next 2 more parameters, Kshanti and Viragya. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, sisters and brothers. Am I audible and,
yes.
And visible?
Yes.
First of all, thank you, Suvarlina ji, for your kind words of introduction. At the outset, I wish to thank the Indian section, Theosophical Society, as well as Kerala Federation for giving me this maiden opportunity to talk on the occasion of Easter conference. Let me begin with the Shanti Mantra. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As all of us are aware, the third line in the Shanti Mantra means from death lead me to immortality. This has a significant relevance with regard to Easter festival, which in a way is the conquering of death by Jesus through salvation and resurrection. Regardless of what tradition you follow, the spiritual meaning of Easter is the emergence of a new light through sacrifice, patience, tolerance, as well as renunciation or detachment. Interestingly, all these are integral to both Shanti and Vairagya, on which I am supposed to deliberate upon today. In the concluding chapters of Bhagavata Purana, Sri Vedavyasa says that the stories therein were, in fact, narrated with the devout purpose of imbibing virtuous qualities such as Vijnana and Vairagya in the listening disciples. In the Kaivalya Upanishad, it is said, Na karmana, na prajana, na dhanena, tyagena yeke amritattamanas. Meaning thereby that not by work, nor by progeny or praja, nor by wealth, but by renunciation alone, immortality can be attained. Listeners may wonder why I'm talking about immortality in the context of the 7 Paramithas or divine virtues. It is simply because in the evolutionary process, immortality and rebirth are inevitable, so as to facilitate our crossover through the trials and tribulations of opening up the 7 portals of the Supreme Self to the Supreme Self. Already Brother Amardeep was showing us something about the 7 incarnations. At least 7 incarnations may be required to fulfill this, the whole journey. Immortality is emphasized in Sloka 20, chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, which starts with Najayade Mreyadeva Kadachit, and which means even when the body gets killed, the soul never dies. It has neither birth nor death. It is neither young nor old. It has neither beginning nor ending. It is beyond time and always new and vibrant. Now, touching upon the theme of our conference, from known to the unknown, I know it is a highly profound and mysterious one, and in my humble opinion, it is supposed to be the aim of every human birth to climb up to the golden stairs and commencement of what we call as the virtuous spiritual journey in search of the unknown, the journey from the microcosm to the macrocosm. I mean, from the lowest realm to the highest realm. In the course of this journey, there is bound to be overpowering obstacles by Maya or delusions. Sri J. Krishnamurti often used to quote a story to drive home the risk of attraction by Maya. It is about a great disciple meeting the God and demanding to be taught truth. God tells him, my friend, it is such a hot day, please go and get me a glass of water. So the disciple goes goes out and knocks on the door of the first house he comes across, and a beautiful young lady opens the door. The so-called great disciple falls in love with her, and they marry and have several children. Love at first, you must have heard, love at first sight. This this love is called infatuation, not the love in reality. This is already explained yesterday by Brother Adi Keshwar Rao. Now, later, one day it begins to rain and keeps on raining. The torrents are swollen. The streets are full. Houses are being washed away. The disciple holds on to his wife and carries the children on his shoulders. And as he is being swept away, he calls out loudly, "Oh God, please save me." And you know what God replies? "Where is that glass of water I asked for?" He obviously forgot God due to the trap of Maya in the guise of a beautiful lady. So the moral of the story is the disciple need to be at least, disciple need to be alert to the core when he has set his foot on the path in search of the unknown. Our vasanas, temptations, or samskaras carried over from our past lives and dormant in the subconscious can raise its head anytime, even after becoming a disciple. To control it, the mind needs to be in a state of stillness or silence. And this is possible only when the mind is no longer caught up in the process of becoming, because the mind can never experience the new. And so the mind needs to be totally still and in a state of being instead of becoming. And this exploration of being may not be possible for all the disciples in a given janma, as I told earlier, and may have to be carried over to subsequent janmas. Further, it should be noted that the chosen disciple has to walk alone, as the teacher can only show the path. The goal is one, but the method of reaching it could be different for each of the chosen ones. Please note, while many are called, only few are chosen. Madam Blavatsky has prominently inscribed as dedicated to the few in the opening page of her book, The Voice of the Silence. Probably it is so pronounced, considering the fact that many may come with the intention of getting rid of their personal sufferings or to acquire knowledge for instant enlightenment or for psychic powers. But Brother Patri already mentioned today about the dangers of adopting shortcuts. I'm just reminded of that. Very few come to the path with the unselfish motive of getting enlightenment for the benefit of mankind. For example, Sri Buddha was genuinely concerned with putting an end to human sufferings, which I believe were nothing but psychological sufferings, along with fear of death, the highest fear, fear of death. Having said so, let me now dwell upon the book, The Voice of the Silence, written by Madam Blavatsky. I believe the spiritual sound, nada, or the soundless sound, could be the equivalent word in Sanskrit for the term voice of the silence. Ideally, the awakened one should be able to experience that soundless sound or the inner voice, even when he happens to be in a most crowded marketplace in a city. The external sound is never an impediment for such an awakened person. The book is a set of instructions only for those chosen few who have become ready for the path of adaptation. These instructions are translated in fragmented versions from a manuscript called the Book of the Golden Precepts. It will be quite appropriate to read out what Dr. Annie Besant remarked about the writing of the book. Quote, I will quote, she wrote it at Fontainebleau, France, and the greater part was done when I was with her, and I sat in the room while she was writing it. I know that she did not write it referring to any books, but she wrote it down steadily, hour after hour, exactly as though she were writing either from memory or from reading it where no book was. She produced in the evening the manuscript that I saw her write as I sat with her, and asked me and others to correct it for English, for she said that she had written it so quickly that it was sure to be bad. We did not alter, or we could not alter in that more than a few words, and it remains as a specimen of marvelously beautiful literary work, unquote. It is in three fragmented versions because one segment is not in continuation of the other, though it deals with the same subject, but in a different manner, so as to suit the level of dedication of the chosen probationer or disciple. Now let me come to the term paramita. Paramita or parami is a Buddhist term often translated as perfection. It is described in Buddhist commentaries as noble character and qualities generally associated with adepts or enlightened beings. The 7 paramitas in the Buddhist teachings are probably the most useful for bringing the path of awakening into everyday life. These are a list of virtues that you can develop in any situation, as you are working in an office, as you are with your family, or as you are driving, or as you are meditating. These are Dhyana, Shila, Kshanti, Vairagya, Virya, Dhyana and Prajna. Compared to the fourfold path of Bhakti Yoga, that is Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi, the 7-fold gateways or transcendental virtues, which eventually leads us to the Alaya, that is the universal soul or the Atman, are much more arduous and vulnerable in the sense it is like a snake and ladder game involving risk of falling down in the case of even the slightest imperfection. The 7 layers of evolution of human personality, that is the lower quaternary, the higher triad and beyond, can be said to be analogous with the sutras of the 7 portals. Dana and Shila have already been dealt with by the previous speaker, Brother Amardeep, very nicely. I shall deal with the next 2 qualifications, Shanti and Vairagya. Each one is a prerequisite for the next one. Shanti in Buddhism means patience, forbearance, and forgiveness. One of the paramitas in Theravada as well as Mahayana Buddhism. In Malayalam, a somewhat equal word for it is Sahana Shakti, the power to face any adversities, meaning unaffected by or able to withstand. Other equivalents are calmness, tolerance, endurance, and composure, providing ability to bear hardships and misfortunes. Vairagya is a Sanskrit term used in Hindu as well as Jain philosophy that roughly translates as sacrifice, dispassion, detachment, and renunciation. In particular, renunciation from both pains and pleasures in this temporary material world. Both the portals are complementary to each other in the sense, without forgiveness, there cannot be dispassion, and without calmness and patience, there cannot be renunciation. In the cover page of the book, Voice of Silence, it has been mentioned as for the daily use of the Lanus. Lanus means disciples. It means that only with regular practice, abhyasa, one can be able to master these qualities. In Sloka 35, chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Asamshayam Mahabahu Mano Durnigrahanam Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena Chagrihyada. There is no doubt that mind always drifts and is difficult to control. But, O Arjuna, through Abhyasa and Vairagya, you can certainly tame it and make it your friend or even an obedient servant. For example, supposing there is growth of a lot of wild plants in a pond, and if you are able to remove it at least partly, you will be able to fetch a certain amount of pure water. But within a few days, the pond may again begin to get affected by the wild plants. Then what to do? Again weed out and clean the pond. As this exercise gets repeated, the rubbish will get cleansed. And this cleansing is what is meant by the word abhyasa. Also, it is necessary to practice viveka, discrimination, and keep away from adharmic activities. That means immoral, corrupt activities and all that. As said earlier, Kshanti, patience, is very much an essential component for practicing Vairagya. Vairagya is not to be confused with sannyasa or moksha, as it does not mean suppression or developing repulsion for material objects. By the application of viveka to life experiences, the aspirant gradually develops a strong attraction for the inner spiritual source of fulfillment and happiness, and all limited attachments fall apart naturally. Balance is maintained between the inner spiritual state and the external life through the practice of seeing all limited entities as the expression of one cosmic consciousness. When all the negative accumulations of the conditioned minds are removed, using the prescribed instructions, Paramithas, then the mind becomes deconditioned from the activities of raga and dvesha, and that state itself is Vairagya. If we make consistent effort with patience and calmness, we can certainly overcome avidya and attain the goal of what we call as kaivalya, enlightenment, state of bliss, etc. Let us examine what Sri Shankaracharya said about the miseries created through various negative emotions, such as kama, krodha, lobha, etc. in the following sloka. Kama, krodhascha, lobhascha, tehe tishpanditaspara, nana ratnapaharaya, tasma jagrada jagrada. Meaning, the three rascals in the form of lust, anger, and excessive greed are hiding within us in order to steal our treasures of perfections, and so be vigilant constantly. In other words, Sri Shankara tells us to throw away all the rubbish within us so that we are able to discover our dormant but shining Antaratma. Probably this has something to do with the word unlearning used yesterday by Adi Keshwara.
Damodaran, you have to complete.
Oh, I see. Okay.
20 minutes you have.
Okay, just 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
Here I am tempted to quote a sloga from Ishavasya Upanishad, which says, Hiranmayena Patrena satyasya mukam abhidam tatvam pushanna bhavranu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Discover the truth and experience the effulgent light of the Supreme Soul within you, so that you feel the real fulfillment of this birth, and you will blissfully be chanting Shivoham, Shivoham, I am that, I am that. This is also called the ending of the sense of separateness, leading to ending of all sufferings. In Vairagya, we will neither rejoice nor be in sorrow upon whatever is happening around our inner or outer form. We must be indifferent and unaffected by those things. If there is no indifference, you are stuck on the earthly plane, that is still entangled with lower physical realm, and so not yet ready for perfect freedom. In his book At the Feet of the Master, Sri J. Krishnamurti has devoted a chapter on desirelessness, which means nothing but Vairagya in Sanskrit. Brother Devarajan has already dealt upon desirelessness yesterday. I would only reiterate one salient point, that what another man does or says or believes is no affairs of yours, and you must learn to be absolutely alone, except that if you see a case of cruelty to a child or an animal, it is your duty to interfere. If you see anyone breaking the law of the land, you should inform the authorities. Except in such cases, you should mind your own business and practice the virtue of Vairagya while being a non-judgmental observer. I shall conclude by making a small reference to the concluding chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was already in such a state of surrender that he even became ignorant of the word desire and told Krishna in Sloka 73 of chapter 18, Nashto moha smridir labda Tvat prasadat mayachudha Tidosmi gada sandeha Parishya vajanam tava. O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my equanimity by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am determined to act according to your instructions alone. And finally, just one few seconds. Upon reaching the top of the ladder, that is the spiritual initiation level, which Dr. Nayarji talked today, the whole of wisdom, I suppose like that. The Supreme Master Soul is the happiest than any other entity, as is evident from the concluding part of fragment 1 of the book, The Voice of the Silence. I would like to quote it. Behold, thou hast become the light, thou hast become the sound, thou art thy master and the God. Thou art thyself the object of thy search, the voice unbroken that resounds throughout eternities, exempt from change, exempt from sin. The 7 sounds in one, the voice of the silence. Om Tat Sat. Thank you all for a very patient hearing. Peace to all beings. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Damodaran. It was a detailed and with a lot of references, which is definitely good. I wish we could, spend more time with you, but then we have a restricted time frame. So I'll go to our next speaker. It's Sister Gita Radhika. She's a BTech and residing at Hyderabad. She got interested into spiritual activities since her childhood through her grandmother. Then she got in contact with Sri Ramakrishna Garu and was actively participating in spiritual activities conducted by Sri Ramakrishna. And for the last 2 years, she has been getting trained as a resource person with the help of Brother Raghunath, Secretary, Rayalaseema Theosophical Federation, through various training programs on how to present and prepare and enlighten with Theosophy. So I'm welcoming Sister Geetha to speak about the last 3 Paramithas, that is Virya, Dhyana and Prajna. Over to you, Geetha.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, you are.
I'll start with a sloka. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshistante Vasat Rishi Ganai Ravrutam Brahmanistaihi Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudram Ananda Rupam Swatma Ramam Mudita Vadanam Dakshinamurti Mide. Dear brethren, I am very happy to be a part of the 98th Easter Conference 2022. First of all, I would like to thank our Indian section and RTF for giving this opportunity to meet with you all. My today's topic is about the last 3 of the 7 Paramithas. We have listened to the first 4 Paramithas from Brother Amardeep and Brother Damodaran. I would like to continue with the last 3 portals. Before going to my main topic, I would like to discuss science, philosophy, and religion for a few minutes. It will help us to understand the theme of our conference from known to unknown. What is scientific religion? How to understand and explain spirituality with a scientific perspective. I will discuss these points for the next couple of minutes. If we want to show spirituality through scientific perspective, then we need to understand that there are 3 states in knowledge: science, philosophy, and religion. What is meant by science? Knowledge we receive through our 5 senses is called science. In this case, we need to talk about knowledge only in terms of spirituality in this form. We can't say you will get results if you have faith. What is scientific perspective? We should get results by doing some process which is applicable to all walks of human beings. For example, if you turn on the switch, the bulb should turn on. We need to understand that explaining spirituality with scientific perspective is not scientific spirituality, because spirituality is the experience which is above senses. We tend to dilute it with our 5 senses. What is philosophy? In this universe, everything is a symbol of unique consciousness. We must visit that symbol. Symbols are of 3 types. One is personally formed, the second one is formed by human society, and the third one is formed by nature. There is no major use with symbols formed by individuals. An example of symbols formed by human society is script. In religion, we talk about Dvaita, Advaita, Visishta Advaita, etc. One principle cannot appreciate the other. These are also symbols. But before forming symbols, there will be some theory behind it. That is called philosophy. Philosophy means education about symbols, but these are symbols formed by humans. Other than these symbols, nature has formed some symbols and they are called apaurusheya. They are not formed by human society. In philosophy, meaning may vary depending on our understanding. All man-made symbols may undergo change. We can change them if we want because we made them. But this will not happen with the symbols formed by nature. That's why we can't change Vedas because they are apaurusheya. Symbols which can't be changed are called religion. A scientist never agrees to a feeling which would not be observed by 5 senses. But if he loves someone and if he is asked to show it, he can't. Einstein said that spirituality begins where science ends. We need to go beyond science, that is, enter into philosophy. Philosophy means a perspective about some subject or object. It depends on science of feelings. All spirituality starts with Yadbhavam Tadbhavati. There is no scientific religion, but we can look at religion scientifically. We can look at 9 different types of philosophy, which are called as Navavidha Bhakti. Looking at a human body is science, but visualizing humans is philosophy. It's an emotional world. So here science doesn't work. How do these emotions happen? We can take these emotions to the extent where we can feel that the entire world is my body. This is the highest state of the emotional world, but still it's a philosophy. But you can find differences in philosophies. That's why we have multiple philosophies on the name of Rama, Christ, and more. But still it's not related to our 5 senses. Coming to the religion, here the problem is we can tell about it only to those who have religious perspective. In deep sleep, You will not feel body pains, office problems, and relationships, etc. If there is nothing that exists other than you, then it is religion. We can't say more than that. As even Buddha said, don't ask about it. In deep sleep, you won't feel the outside world. It can be taken as ignorance. So we have science, philosophy, and ignorance. Only theosophy can give religious perspective with which ignorance can be removed. Madam HPB explains science, philosophy, and religion in the Secret Doctrine very well. All the present religions in the outside world are philosophies only. For all of us, there is only one dharma. Okay, now we will go to the last 3 paramitas of 7 portals. Those are Virya, Dhyana, and Prajna. Coming to the Virya paramita, already our brothers have made you cross 4 portals. Let me take you to the other 3 portals. In that, 5th one is Virya. According to the Madam HPB, the dauntless energy that fights its way to the supernal truth out of the mire of lies celestial. These portals make our bodies into a bodhi tree. Excitement to perform good works is called Virya. In this, we will find perseverance also. Activists and heroes who don't even count their lives in righteousness and in protecting others. Virya and Dare are twins. They were put into practice by Lord Hanuman as he crossed the ocean and completed his task to make Lord Rama happy. Even Mahatma Gandhi also mentioned about practicing Virya in his autobiography. He said, because of Virya, I could initiate so many movements like Salt Satyagraha. Even selfish and stupid people also do daring acts. But the acts done towards welfare of the world will be called Virya Paramita. There are 4 obstacles to the Virya portal. First one is delay, laziness. Laziness and fatigue will go away by doing work on which you are more interested. We need to know the importance of time and should not postpone our work. We need to understand that every day is approaching death. Fatigue is the result of lack of discipline. Upanishad warns us, Uttishtata Jagrata Prasya Padan Nibodhata. It means that this is not time to sleep. Cross the river of grief and reach the other side as soon as possible. It's very difficult to get a human birth, so we must utilize this opportunity. Second one is Vishada or depression. Theosophy is good medicine for disappointment and depression. Every human being should remember that he has all the powers of the Almighty. When one man does, every man can. Impossible is a word in the dictionary of fools. Bhagavad Gita says, Prayatmat yadhamanastu yogi samsuddha kalpishaha. If one perseveres and strives with dedication, one is freed from sin. No need to do our best with full effort. Failures are the stepping stones to success. Third one is Kushita Sekti or ugly interests. Pleasures are fleeting. They are the causes of grief. One who is a slave to alcohol, gambling, prostitution will forget his own duties and righteousness. We should not be lustful. Abundant lust as poison, says Astavakra Maharshi. Fourth one is Atmanyunata or low self-worth. Heroes never lower themselves. He feels as embodiment of Almighty. They have all the powers as the Almighty have. This is the right medicine for low self-worth. When Lord Hanuma felt as if he was not mighty enough to cross the ocean, Jamavanta, who knows about him, came to him and reminded him of his powers. Then Hanuman crossed the ocean and accomplished Sri Rama's mission, thus being praised as Veera Hanuman. So, to overcome obstacles to Virya Paramita, we should have spiritual knowledge, loyalty to the soul, discipline, and spiritual discourse or satsang. Next, coming to the Dhyanaparamita. According to Madam HPB, Dhyana means whose golden gate once opened leads an adept toward the realm of Sat eternal and its ceaseless contemplation. The first 5 Paramithas, those are Dana, Shila, Kshanti, Viraga, Virya, will remove faults resulting from intercourse of outer senses. Dhyana cleans the faults of one's inner self and makes concurrence with buddhi, and this is the practice to take us into samadhi state. The 2 faults bound to mind are mala and vikshepa. Mala dosha happens because of contact with outside things. Vikshepa is the mind's nature. We can meditate after eradicating these 2 faults. Power of desire is called dhyana. Faults due to outer senses are kamachanda, lust on sensual pleasures; vyapada, jealousy, hatred, bad thoughts on others; sthyanamada, laziness. For meditation, it's necessary to have peaceful surroundings and also necessary to have inner peaceful loneliness. This loneliness is called chitta viveka. Centralizing our thoughts on the role of meditation is called pratyahara in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. We need to observe mental charters, which is called samprajanya. Because of this, disputes in feelings will perish. Vitarka bhava will perish through Vairagya. We can meditate on an ideal or a supermaster's qualities and finally become him. In this state, we will attain samadhi state. We need to keep our physical body healthy and clean because God in the form of Jiva resides in this temple. Nothing but our physical body. How to eradicate bad qualities? By creating roles for good qualities in meditation. For example, if we think about quality anger, it gets strengthened. We need to meditate on a quality peace. After some time, anger will weaken. Like this, we have one more meditation technique called Vipasyana. Here the mind will concentrate on breath. With this Anapana technique, we can make our mind strong against sensual pleasures. We need to take master's help to meditate on Tantra and Kundalini. In this way, slowly we get hold of the mind and then it gets into Samadhi state. In this state, you should experience first equality of self with other selves and then exchange of self with another. It's like mother and child. From these 2 feelings, these 2 expand to ensemble is called feeling of omnipotent. They will become friends to all elements. In this way, becoming Buddha. By practicing meditation and becoming compassionate and friendly to all elements in nature is the ultimate goal of Dhyanaparamita. Some important sessions for Dhyana are: do practice meditation at a fixed time and fixed place for better results. We may see multiple bodies in our dreams, but in a waking state, you would not find anything. So you can observe the progress of your meditation if you experience your body like in your dreams. Patanjali Yoga Sutras in Voice of Silence say, meditation means using the power of dhyana. With dhyana, we can avoid aging. Old age doesn't always mean aging of the physical body. We will be always young mentally. An example given by Madam HPB on meditation. We'll see one example. In nature, anything can be taken as a role in meditation. Answer to one of the questions, Madam HPB says, meditate on a matchbox. They have asked how a matchbox will play a role in meditation. Then Madam HPB said that matchbox has matchsticks, matchstick formed from a tree. Mother Earth is a basis for the trees. Earth came from water, and water from fire, and fire from Vayu, and Vayu from Akasha. Akasha took birth from Atma. This soul is part of the Almighty. Almighty has no properties, omnipresent and omnipotent. Entire world is this Almighty's creation. That Almighty is in me. I am Ishvara. In this way, we can meditate on the matchbox and unite with God. In this way, thinking in a continuous process like an oil stream is practicing meditation. Coming to the last portal, which is nothing but Prajna Paramita. Meaning of Prajna is, pra means very well, Jna means to know. Power of knowing very well. Paramita means ultimate level. Prajnaparamita means ultimate level reached in Prajna, means having unlimited Prajna. It's very well explained in the book Hridaya Sutra. When a Bodha monk Shariputra questioned Avalokiteshvara and Bodhisattva while they were in meditation, answers for those questions were put in Hridaya Sutra. There are 5 skandhas mentioned here: Rupa, Vedana, Vijnana, Sanja, Samskara. Properties for all these are void, means Sunyam. Everything mentioned in Panchaskandha is void. Form is void. In this way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, consciousness, all these are void. All these are unceased, stainless, not stainless, undiminished, unfulfilled. There is no form in void, no emotion, no samskara, no consciousness. There is no mind, no profit or loss, no growth or decay. All Buddhas who are going to attain Buddha state are experts in Prajnaparamita. Sarva Buddha Prajnaparamita Mastritya Anuttaram Samyak Sambodhi Mavi Sambuddhaha. So there is no great mantra equal to this mantra, which proposes void from Prajnaparamita mantra. This mantra eradicates all problems. This is not a myth. This is the ultimate truth. This mantra manifests great knowledge. The great person who attains understanding of Prajnaparamita can only reach Nirvana state and be praised and honored as Buddha. So, this is the end of the Prajnaparamita. For a few words, I will close this. So, dear brethren, I would like to conclude my topic with a few words on known to unknown, which is our theme of the conference. I remember one story from the Puranas. Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu were searching for the start and end points of Lord Mahadev's linga form. Finally, they could not find it. But Brahma used knowledge and logic and took help of a flower and cow to give evidence in favor of him. Then Lord Mahadev got angry and removed one head of Lord Brahma. In this search to the unknown, with whatever we know, we should not feel egoistic, that is with ahankara. The unknown cannot be found with logic, but can only be connected with complete surrender, with ultimate wisdom and discrimination, desirelessness, good conduct, and love. Om Shanti. Thanks to all delegates, moderators.
That was really nice presentation with very good examples, very practical. Thank you so much. You did a great job.
Once again, thank you all.
Nice presentation.
And I would take this from that example of Hanuman. So in fact, when I was going through all these Paramithas, I quickly recall that people are celebrating Hanuman Jayanti also, right? Today. So we all are like Hanuman. We don't know what is latent in us, our third objective, right? The power latent in every one of us. So everything is so correlated. It could be meditating upon a matchbox to the eternal or the supremacy, or identifying myself as a Hanuman, knowing fully well that I have latent power, but I'm not going to use it. So that's really good, an example of yours. Thank you so, so much. So here we come to the end of the talks, but then we will move forward to the question and answer sessions. I don't see much of questions. So probably, till the time people are putting in the chat box, something clicked to my mind. I hope as a moderator, I am also allowed to ask my question. So I have this question for all the 3 speakers or anyone in the audience. If you could, quench my thirst of this query. There are these 7 Paramithas, and then I am an individual probably a bit aware of which of these Paramita I'm practicing and probably something I'm not practicing. So is there a way to start with? Out of the 7, is there a simple way for an individual like me? Because these are all gates to initiations. So are there 1 or 2 Paramitas one should start with as a beginner? This is one question, one part of the dimension of the question. The other part is, we all are at very different levels, like maybe age-wise, knowledge-wise, wisdom-wise, or understanding-wise, at an infant stage, then child, youth, old age. if knowledge and power are also like at different stages. So are these 7 parameters categorized or could be categorized for which level these parameters should be practiced? So just I thought about it. I don't know if someone can answer me. Till the time others are writing their questions, I would request for some answers, please.
My request is all 3 speakers who have spoken here.
Yeah.
Brother Damodaran, you are available. So can you give the answer what moderator Suvralina asked? Which? Yes. You unmute yourself.
Okay. First of all, I'm sorry I exceeded time by a little.
That's fine. That's
No
fine.
problem.
We liked it. Like this.
About her question, I feel this is a fixed parameters in a graded way. So now, even though somebody is in a very higher state of consciousness, maybe slightly higher, he cannot go and start from Prajna, the highest. He has to, if he has to tread the path, he has to start with the Dhyana. He has to necessarily start with Dhyana. So I think in my talk, somewhere I said, one is a prerequisite for the other. After crossing one, you can go to the other. Now, if I am not sure, somebody can add, somebody can enlighten me.
Yeah, you could be right. But then my other dimension which comes to me is, how do we, relate it to a, from an infant to child to youth to old? That should be our sequence of things to do, right? We have to practice, let's say, 7 things. At what age? I mean, I'm just getting inquisitive. Like the way our school syllabus is ready, there are books prescribed for, the beginner book. Then, you read it that way. I hope that could be something probably elders could address.
Shinde sir, would you like to?
Shinde sir will tell.
Yeah.
Her question is, where to start? What to start? Dhyana, Shila, Kshanti. Sir, unmute yourself. Sir, kindly unmute.
You could unmute and please tell us as a beginner where to start, then mid-level where it is. If
Now I am quite Suvralina.
Yeah.
It is good. Such kind of question must come in our mind when we study these Paramithas. These all are, after all, Paramithas. Just like at the feet of the master, it is said, love is the qualification. Once you get hold of this qualification, all other qualifications, they automatically come in. That is what the master has declared. The same kind of question you have asked, out of these 7, which is the first or which must be concentrated? And it is said that this is the first is the Dhyana, generosity. If you develop this generosity, all Paramithas will follow. So Dhyana is a wonderful thing. If you have that one, because the whole life is for the Paropakara. Paropakaraya this Shariram. That is what it is said. So Dhyana is the only to begin with. Because anybody can begin with this Dhyana. From the lowest level, you can achieve to the highest. And that is enough. If you become perfect in Dhyana, all other will follow. That is what I think. The same question was asked to Radha Barnier also. And she said, why this Dhyana is on the first line. First is the Dhyana here. Like Shat Sampatti, Sama is the first. So whatever is the first, in that sense, it is important. And here it is Dhyana is important. You think over Dhyana, meditate over Dhyana, and even you can give a very good talk, Suvralina, on the Dhyana. Then you will realize how Dhyana is very important among all these. I think so. You just try for it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I don't see much questions. Either we have gone to a good silent meditative state of ours in this one and a
in the
half hours of
morning,
talk.
yes. Morning, someone giving some opinion whether that Brother Sankara is available, and Brother Nabin is always raising his hand. I don't know whether it is accidentally he raised his hand. Brother Nabin Pandey.
If you want to ask something, you may ask. Unmute and ask, please.
I want to know about Mehta, who gave a talk today. Mehta.
In the morning session?
No, just now about Paramithas.
Oh, that is Gita Radhika. Not
Acha, Gita Radhika.
Gita Radhika Mehta is written, no?
Mehta,
Yeah.
Mehta.
Yeah, she is writing that. It's
Yeah, I was not there when she was introduced. So
Okay,
Gita Radhika.
she belongs to which federation?
Raisma Federation.
Wonderful talk she gave. And what is her service now?
I don't know. She is a
She is
She's
there?
an engineer actually. She did her
She is there?
engineering. She's
Yes,
in
yes.
Hyderabad. Yeah.
Probably she is not.
Yeah, I'm from Shambhala Theosophical Lodge, RTF.
Her father, they are very devoted.
Theosophist?
Yes.
Wonderful. Good.
And also Amardeep also given a very good speech. Both Radhika, Amardeep.
Oh, Gita Radhika Mehta. How it is Mehta?
It's Menta.
Menta.
Okay, Menta. Okay. Radhika, you have given very good talk.
Thank you, sir.
What is your background? Where you served?
Actually, our Guruji Ramakrishna Master Garu told us to join Theosophical Society. So that he has joined in Shambhala Theosophical Lodge. From there, our search starts. In 2018, we went to Bhavali trip.
Oh.
There Raghunath sir and Krishna sir met. From then they did much training in this. So I have joined in resource training camp also.
Yeah, Bhavali has got that atmosphere.
Yes.
Where you inspired.
Yeah.
And theosophical background is there from your parents also, I think. So you...
From our mother-in-law and husband.
Oh, good. Because you connected so many things with the theosophical concept. And that is what it is needed in present day. And you have that capacity. Keep it up. I want to know about it. And where you are based now?
Hyderabad, sir.
Huh?
Hyderabad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one comment in the chat from the Secretary, Telugu Federation. He writes, mind, meditative, intuitive, neurological dimension. This is how he writes about mind.
He wants to speak.
Yeah, he may ask his question, but this is how he defines mind.
I
He wants
posted
to expand.
just to start mind, M-I-N-D, mind. You can expand. Not question, it's my observation.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's a comment. Mind is M for meditative, I for intuitive, N for neurological, D is dimension or device. This is how he writes it. So he wants us to expand our thought on this and provide some observation if anyone has. So if anyone can just expand on this, or you yourself can come and tell us something on this, sir.
Yes, Shastri, he likes to. Yes.
Yes, please.
Sir, about the prakaras, the Paramithas, you asked which should be taken first and which should be followed, like that you wanted to know. It's really a bit difficult, though. I try to give the knowledge I have a little bit, not much. Mr. Panya Ramnath Sastri, he was one of these presidents of the Rayalaseema Lodges. He happened to write a book on third fragment of the Words of Silence. In that he has given, especially about the third fragment, he has translated it into Telugu. At the beginning, Dana, that is prema, that is love. You must have love and yes, we must have first paramita is Dana. We must have love. With the key of love, we must start whatever we want. Then we can cross over that Dana. And then second, if you come to second one, whoever enters the first paramita, then he knows that is to call to cross Dana, he must have love the key. And second paramita, Shila. For this, a little bit allow me to read it it is given in Telugu. So I have to translate it into English and tell you. That is the thing. It may take a little bit time. Would you mind if I do it? Or shall I do it afterwards?
Maybe sometime later, sometime when we discuss more on it, but we got your answer. So you say Dana comes from your love. From love,
see,
you are being
actually 7 keys are said. It is said. To understand thoroughly, we must have 7 keys. That is for Dana, we must have love. Like that for second also, we must have some other thing. If you read it thoroughly, you will understand, you will get 7 keys. Once you know the 7 keys, it is easy to open the lock. And then we can proceed on it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So how do we go about it? There is no question. I mean, how do we end the session? Do we have an ending prayer or...
A close with an ending prayer. Before that, anybody, anything like to add? There are 4 morning 4 subject, important subject.
Right.
Here, one thing I like to say. Shall I say, madam?
Yes, please.
Everybody is speaking about the knowledge given in the theosophical books and how that application of that knowledge with reference to the present circumstances can be done. How can we take advantage? We are reading so many books, morning, right from the morning to this time. We had so many discussions and so many talks, and they have given valuable information to us. How can we take advantage of that valuable information and apply it to the present practical problems we are being faced with? Actually, Master's idea is to see that human beings must be made strong enough mentally, spiritually, so that they can face any problem that may come from time to time, irrespective of passage of time. That is what. Anybody can help me?
I just quickly thought of one aspect. I have been recently following and listening much now. Things are occurring in that direction, maybe for last 1 or 2 weeks. I just heard, whatever I'm doing and I'm not doing, I am responsible. Whatever I'm doing, I'm responsible for that. Whatever I'm not doing, that is also I'm responsible for. No one else outside.
Yes.
If I'm learning something and I really want to change my life from any angle, I want to grow. I want to grow within, grow outside. Whichever aspect of life we're talking about, it could be a worldly problem or a petty problem in my personal life, my professional life, my relationship with the world, my response to the world, anything. There's a war within and outside, right? So if I'm doing something to implement, that's my responsibility.
Yes.
If I'm not doing, that is also my responsibility. So it all starts from there. I mean, that is how I look at this way. Maybe other seniors can tell me. I mean, this is how I talk about implementing things.
And another point I have observed is, whatever we get the knowledge from theosophical studies, we must be able to implement in our life. It is actually meant for the purification of the various bodies. That is Sola Sarira, etheric double, and then astral body, mental body. Then after mental body, that purification will be done. Once it is purified up to that level, it becomes automatically part of the causal body. That's what. So studying theosophy with deeper understanding and application of its knowledge we get is very, very important. Intellectually we understand, but when we get the deeper knowledge of it, it goes to the subtle level. When it goes to the subtle level, then only we get benefited out of it. That's what I feel, madam.
Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise it's just data and information. We don't get wiser. We'll only get knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, Secretary Telugu Federation.
Yes,
he
sir.
wants
You
to
want to say
explain.
something?
I just want to explain what I have found the acronym, the mind. The mind is the most innovative natural device. It's a natural device. Whereas the other devices they are inventing and through science and technology, unlike those things, it's the most innovative and it's magnificent also. At the same time, it's a neurological dimension. In scientific parlance, it is called, they never call it as consciousness or brain, or because we are just using the brain or brain on a fraction of a percentage, maybe 5% or some 10%. So the unused thing is so much. So it's the most innovative. It always innovates. So how the innovations are monetized for economic benefits or something, or other than economic benefits, it innovates. It spreads according to the across the countries, continents. So all these things are coming out under the what we call it as third objective. The man's progress and innovation comes under this innovativeness and this new dimension, neurological dimension. Because of this spiritual the circulation that is going on in several countries and several places. So, it's a natural device. It's most innovative and it's magnificent, and it expands.
Yeah.
It's just my observation on the word mind, what I have found as an acronym and expanded in 4 words. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you, sir.
Kindly approach.
So we are coming to the end of today's session. And as it has been a 3 days program for us, first day we started, then second day we come to our own being and, going on the path. And I'm sure we are going forward to a new beginning of tomorrow's session with this end of day 2. So I'll end with a closing prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.